know that because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have to do our best to stay safe and to also stay home. But in view of that, we just want to bring you a glimpse of the show. I Choose You is fully packaged, but what you are coming to see today is just a glimpse, just a bit of it, a tip of the iceberg. And God willing, when the pandemic is over, we'll roll out the whole package, juicy package for that matter. This afternoon, we are going to be talking about a very interesting issue. You know, the show is all about that choice you made, that decision you made that outturned your life. It's actually a show for both singles and married, but I mentioned earlier on our page that our focus is going to be on the singles because I personally realized that most relationship shows have focused on the married ones. So we want to focus on the singles because a lot of people are married and they wish they can come back to learn certain things before going back into marriage. So what can we do right? What can we learn? We want you to share that story, and today I have a very life-transforming story or life-changing story. We are going to learn from. It's easier to relate when you can pick some one or two lessons from someone's real life story. That way, when you're faced with similar situation, you will know how to handle it. So I welcome you once again, and before I proceed, I just quickly want you to follow us on our various social media handles. I Choose You. The Gmail is ichooseyough@gmail.com. Anytime you want to send your story, I want to encourage you that don't send it to Facebook. Just email it directly to me. I will review, or we will review, and then follow up on you. We'll give you a call and see how best we can arrange for the interview. Even if your story is so sensitive, do not worry. We will conceal your identity. On Twitter, you can find us on at I Choose You Talk One, at I Choose You Talk One, and on Instagram you can find this show on at I Choose You Talk Show. YouTube is I Choose You Talk Show, and Facebook is I Choose You Talk Show. So we are going to delve straight into the issue of the day, and I have with me a very wonderful person, someone who has been a friend, she's a colleague. She inspired me on another level. I tell you, hey, this lady's faith is so stubborn. She's just on another level. So we are going to hear her story. We are going to see how she conquered. We are going to see how she battled through. So that if you're faced with similar things or a similar thing, you will know how to also be able to go through it. You will also know how to conquer. So once again, welcome. And she is a TV producer. She's done so many production works for. She worked with Barsat One. She also produced shows like Tonight Show in Ghana, Celebrity Fan Zone, Vim Talk. I can just mention but few. She also did production work for BBC Africa, BBC UK, and then also working with a renowned journalist, Roland Martin. You know him, um, CNN veteran journalist. And also, you know, if I want to continue, I will continue. Hunter's House International, she also did a production for them. You know the producers there. It is we, the presenters, that always take the accolade. But they do a lot of work. She's just a hard-working young lady. Today's issue or story is related to single parenting. So I don't want to keep you in too much suspense. Let me welcome Roberta Aqua Mbia. I hope I got the Mbia right, Bobby.
You did, Christine. You did. You did. Thank you very much.
All right. I call her Bobby, so you have to just bear with us while we roll on that normal level. Bobby, thank you so much this afternoon for your time.
Thank you for having me, Christine. I'm glad I'm here.
All right. So we just want to start. Let me take you back a little bit. I know how single parenting can be like. A lot of people have discussed topics like that, but you know, ours is not about the discussion. Ours is about the real life story and someone telling us how it is to be there and how it is to live there. So let me just quickly take you back. We don't have time to go back, but then let me take you back to what did you exactly do when you got that news, when the test proved that you were pregnant? How was it knowing very well that you were in school?
Okay, so I would say that it was a mixed feeling. So I had closed from work one day and I didn't feel right. I felt my period had delayed. So I just called a friend of mine to come buy me the test kit, and I asked her to bring two. I remember so well, just like as if it was yesterday. I went to the washroom, I did the first test, and then I came out laughing out so loud because that was my very first test I had done all my life that proved that it was positive. So I think the laughter was because I was thinking it wasn't true. I couldn't handle the whole thing. And within just like a split second, my laughter became tears because I had a second test and it turned out to be positive, meaning I was pregnant. What was running through my head then was the fact that I was just about finishing my first degree and I had planned to do my master's right after. I was considering my parents as well. Even though I was living alone and I had a job, I wasn't ready for parenthood. It wasn't something that I was ready for at all. So when I discovered that I was pregnant, I was so disappointed in myself and how I was even going to break the news to my parents. Those were my main concerns. And my partner at the time, I knew wouldn't I knew how he was going to react to the whole news. So it was of a great worry to me. But thank God we are here today.
Yeah, thank God we are here today. So, what prompted that bold decision? Because in our earlier conversation, you made mention that you were preparing for your final exams. So, what prompted
Yeah.
that bold decision for you to decide to keep this pregnancy?
Honestly, I always tell my friends all the time that I would have terminated that pregnancy, in all honesty. But um, I discovered I was pregnant in May. And then I'll just take you back a little bit. In January that year, 2014, I was in JIG. I was in my final year, and there was a mate of mine. She wasn't even my friend. She was like a friend's friend who came to tell me about a prophecy about me. And to be frank and honest with you, I was in doubt because I never knew the prophets. I haven't been in that church. I had no relation with anybody there at all. So it was hard for me to believe. The prophecy was that I was going to get pregnant and I shouldn't terminate. So even when I heard about the prophecy initially, I laughed about it. I even told my then partner that, look, this is what I've heard. And it sounded so funny to me. So then fast forward, it happened that in May, the confirmation came. I got pregnant. If not for the prophecy that came in, I'm very, very sure that I would have terminated pregnancy. But I was torn between terminating because of my partner and then keeping because of God. And in my situation, I chose to go with God because I believe that so far as He has said something about you and you choose to go with God, then He's going to be there for you. He will provide for you. He's the ultimate. So that is what prompted my decision to go with keeping the child.
I see where that confidence came from. Anytime I go like, hey, so how are we going to do this? Roberta will always be like, oh, don't nyame, hey, nyame that. So I see, I see. But then how did you break this heavy news to your parents? How were you able to tell them that? Especially your mom, because I know the relationship between you and your mom. This is what has happened to me when I'm pregnant.
So Christine, initially when I started, I made mention of the fact that when I got pregnant, um, I was just thinking about two people in my life. That was my mom and my dad, because I have a very very good relationship with both of them. My dad is like my best friend. We speak about everything, and I know he has high hopes in me. You know, yeah, he knows that I'm if not to say the smartest kid. So he's expecting too much from me. My mom, on the other hand, is also like people respect her a lot because of her children. So like the expectations were a bit high. So this came in as a sort I thought, no, when I tell them, they're going to be disappointed. So my mom usually calls me in the morning to pray for me before I step out to work. So one time she called me and I was like, Mom, I need to tell you something. And she got apprehensive. She was like, what is it? Do you have a problem at work? What is happening to you? Have you lost some money? Is like, are you in some kind of trouble? I said no, but I'll let you know, not now, because I felt I didn't have the confidence enough to break the news to her. I didn't know how she was going to take the whole news. So after some time, I think one day I got up in the morning and I got so emotional. And then as she was praying for me, I just told her that I think I've disgraced you. I'm pregnant. And the response I got from her that day, if I knew, I'm sure I would have told her the very first day I discovered I was pregnant. She was like, ah, so that is what is going on with you, and you've kept me in suspense. Being pregnant is not anything bad. So what is the man saying? And then I had to tell her. She said, don't worry at all. I only have 3 children, and I'm going to keep the child. If you want, I'm going to keep her as my last child. So you don't have any problem at all. And that was what gave me the confidence I got to carry out through my pregnancy. For my dad, I only sent him a text message on WhatsApp to say, Daddy, I'm pregnant. I was also expecting him to scold me. The only response I got for him was, okay. I was like, really? Just okay? And he was like, okay, so what do you want me to say? Do you want me to scold you? What should I do? It has already happened. All you need to do is take responsibility. You know what is ahead of you. Get ready, get prepared, start working very hard to take care of your child and make sure you don't make the mistake again.
Wow.
So yeah, so I had a very good response from them,
Good.
and I
Yeah,
know,
parental support.
yes, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
So I just wish that all of those who are going through like similar situation right now, I just want to chip in this word before we even continue. I think most of the times we take the situations too hard on ourselves. So I beg you,
yes,
don't
yes,
be too hard on yourself. And you know,
yes,
even if
yeah,
you don't get parental support and you feel deep down in your heart that whatever path you are taking is the right decision, I think you should just be bold enough to face it. You know, most
yes,
of the times, Bobby, what we fail to
yes,
do is to own up and take responsibility for our decisions or for the
yes.
choices we make.
Because Christine, yes, if I can just chip in this, I remember that um I sat down and thought about the whole situation. I'm like, okay, so sometimes when people get pregnant, yes, we all acknowledge the fact that um we usually say it was a mistake, which could have been prevented, you know. But so far as it has happened, I believe that you just have to relax and know that for whatever reason, it may look like it's a coincidence, but it might also be the plan of God. You may never know. So if you're able to get support from your parents and then maybe you learn from your mistakes, I believe that you have a good life. I believe so much in that. If you get the support that is needed, I believe that there will be people who, get pregnant and don't know what to do with it. I think that they will have confidence in themselves and then work very hard in trying to raise the child.
Yeah, even if they don't support you and you know that whatever decision you are taking will please God, because I tell you, if it pleased God, you keeping it, then you getting rid of it. Trust me. So then let's move on to this aspect. I know that raising a child all by yourself is not easy. I know your confidence level and everything. But then can you tell us how this transition has been like? When you came and you decided to face it, how the whole journey has been like?
Well, when I decided to face it, to be frank and honest with you, that is another point that I know that God comes through for you when He decides to put something in your life. Because Christine, when I started, when I had my baby, I only had to stay home for like 2 months and start resume work. And my mom had to go and take care of my sister. My sister also had a baby around that time. And to be frank and honest with you, I haven't done it all by myself. God planted people in my life to help me through the journey. So I had some aunties who would take care of my child for me while I was at my work. I had a very, very, very good boss who helped me through my pregnancy. So she would also always go like, your mother is not here, so I'm in charge of you. So she would tell me, when you're pregnant, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, prepping me for parenthood, you have to save money because there'll be times that your child will be sick, all those kind of things. So it prepped me for it. I even though I wasn't ready initially, but I just sagged myself that this is it. You need to own up. You're going to be a mother. You need to be able to do something for your child to be happy and make sure that you are always there for her. So that was the decision I took, and then since day one, I've made sure that every decision that I take is something that is in the interest of my daughter.
Okay, so viewers, I quickly want to call for a moment of Bobby and her lovely daughter. Just a brief moment that they had together. I tell you, she gives all she's got for her. So that's very, very lovely. But then I quickly want to know you also how lovely she is. I tell you, she's very, very, very lovely. I've met her in person. Absolutely fun to be with. No dull moments. I can see that she's someone who has brought you company and everything. I want you to tell those who feel like giving up, those who feel like throwing in the towel. Actually, I think about 3 days ago, I saw a story where a mother abandoned a child somewhere and wrote a note. We can't judge her though, but then I know that if some people could hear such life story, real life stories, they will at least be motivated to also push through. I'm sure there are people who feel like giving up right now, but I saw some of the down times, and I saw how quickly God came through. I want you to be able to tell them something.
So what I'll say to everybody that is watching is that yes, sometimes it's very, very difficult because sometimes you just look around you and there's no help. Sometimes you are in a fix, your daughter needs something, your child needs something, and you don't know how you're going to go about it. But I I have I would not say that I take like 2 hours to pray to God. I have a way of relating to God. So I have like a small book that I write stuff like letters to God. I believe that once I'm writing from my head, He can see everything. So whenever I encounter any problem, I just write it down or just wake up at 12 o'clock, just spend like 5 minutes and have a conversation with God. I don't call it like the normal kind of prayer. I just have a conversation. I'm like, oh, dear God. So you give me this girl. You told me that I shouldn't terminate it. You are going to do it for me. So now this is where I need you. I need you to come through for me. And Christine, I tell you, there's been a number of times that that prayer, sometimes when I'm saying it, it looks as if it's just a joke, but it comes through. So what I'll say to, and today when I see my daughter is like a whole mood. There is never a dull moment with her, as you mentioned. She, even at her age, she's just 5. She will make the bed. She would want to make the bed. She would want to sweep. She would want to clean. You know, she would want you to send her to go and buy something. Like she wants to do everything for you. She's like my sister. So what I'll tell other people is that I know it is not easy. It is not an easy road at all. But trust me, time really flies. It was just yesterday I had this child, and today she's already 5.
Yeah.
So it is just when you rely on God in everything, He will come through for you. Yes, sometimes it will be very hard, but He will definitely come through for you because He's the one that gave you the child, and
That
He
is
knows
what
that,
brings me. That is what
and He knows
brings me.
that. Yes, He knows that you had the option of
I just
terminating.
before you wrap up on that,
Yes.
it quickly brings me to that energy, that God, Roberta, that stubborn faith, that resilience. Where does it come from for you? Maybe people would want to be like that, but where does that come from?
It has been God because anybody that knows me knows that I am not the one that I'm not the type of person that will go to church every day. But I've had my experiences. I know no matter what I go through, I believe in so much in God. I believe I'm the kind of person that believes that if you have a situation, worrying about the situation will not solve it. So why do you want to worry? Just stay happy, and then God will come through for you. I believe that choosing between being happy because the thing hasn't happened for you and being worried about it because it hasn't happened for you, I'd rather go with being happy to prolong my life. You understand? If it will
Yes.
happen, it will happen. If it will not
Mhm.
happen, it will not happen.
Mhm.
I believe that my quality that God gave me is having strength to endure most of the things that I go through. I've also had people, good counsel from people. I have a boss who is called Chantel. She will pray with you. She will encourage you. She also has gone through life experiences. She will share some of them with you. You know, she will encourage you. That is where I draw my strength from. I also draw my strength from life experiences, from people's life experiences that I hear.
Very
That is where I,
important.
yes, yes, I draw my strength from that. And I usually am the person that advises people. You know, I'm not really of like correct biasa, but I find myself being the one that gives the advice because usually I just think about life and think about the positive side of life more than the negative side of life. So anybody that is close to me, in every situation that you find yourself, I just try and tell you to look at the positive side than the negative, because the negative will just end up draining you, and then you'll be something else that you haven't even planned to do. But when you look at the brighter side, and whatever you put your mind to happens for you. So that's what I've been living my life with.
Wow, wonderful. I feel that a lot of people have been inspired today. But then, any chance of loving again? I know we are
Of course.
wrapping up because of our time. Any chance of loving again?
Christine, of course. I've never, from even from the day that I got pregnant, I've never, there hasn't been a day that I've said to myself, having like a pity party on myself, saying that, oh no, I'm not going to love again. No, no, Christine, you may never know. There is someone out there that will do anything for you. There is someone out there who is dying for you. There is someone out there who
Definitely,
will kill himself for you. So why do
definitely.
you want to put, why do you want to put hold on love? I just give myself the opportunity to love and be loved. So yes,
Wow.
I'm going to love again. Yeah. So like in Mr. Right, you know.
Wow, wow, wow. And I know that would definitely happen. I
Of
know
course,
that would
amen.
I know that will surely happen. But Bobby, before I finally say goodbye, your final word of encouragement to people out there, single mothers out there, some have two. So all of those battles and hassle and stress, what word do you have to tell them?
Okay, what I'll tell people, anybody, single mothers, anybody at all who is going through some challenge, I want to challenge you to put God first. I know this sounds like cliche, but that is what it is. That is life. People say it all the time. Yes, because that's what works in this life. Just look up to God, say a prayer, speak to God, have a conversation with God, and then work very hard towards whatever you put your mind to. You cannot stay at home and say prayers and not try and do something. You have to try and do something in order to feed your children. You have to try and find some work to do to make sure that your children, even if they don't have the best of life, they have something that they'll be happy with and something that you will also be happy with. So, in all things, God first, work hard, and then everything will be fine. Once
Okay,
there is life, there is always hope.
there
So,
is
we hope for
always
the best.
hope. Exactly, Bobby. Thank you so much. It's been an honor having you today, and I'm sure that personally, I've also learned that I should not give up. And to those who are
Give up.
watching, yes, to those who are watching, Bobby couldn't have done it without God. You've heard her throughout her conversation. It's always been God. It's always been talking to God. However, you want to do it, you cannot leave God out of it. And I choose you is one show particularly that because we learn from life experiences, we cannot do it without God. So before I wrap up, I just want to mention our social media handles again, so that if you're not following, you go and follow. I think the story today has helped you a lot. She kept on pushing and she keeps pushing because of her daughter, because she decided not to abort it. You see, the daughter is now growing, working, is a mate. I'm sure sometimes the way I'm lonely, she will not be lonely like that because she has someone to talk to. So
There's never a
yeah.
dull moment, you know.
Yeah, so life hasn't come to an end. Please stop taking it so hard on yourself and know that if you can only bring God into the picture, you can redecide and do it again. So our social media handle, our Gmail is I choose you gh@gmail.com. You can send me your story directly there. If you want us to conceal your identity because your story is sensitive, please do not worry. We'll get that sorted out. Twitter, you can find us on at I Choose You Talk One. On Instagram at I Choose You Talk Show. YouTube, I Choose You Talk Show. And on Facebook, I Choose You Talk Show. My name is Christine Jaka, and today we've been talking single parenting, but it's not just about talking. It was a real life experience. We'll be bringing you more of these stories. Some of them are actually mind blowing. Some of them, I quite remembered one of the interviews which will roll out after the pandemic. I was literally shedding tears because the story is on another level. So you see, tell a friend to tell a friend that there's a show out here that is getting the singles fired up. So don't be left out. Thanks for making a day today. Once again, my name is Christine Jaka. You heard from Roberta Aqua via, I call her Bobby, and to all the production crew, hands, and everybody. We are so grateful that we made I Choose You possible. But the final thanks of it all, I give it to God because the show, I'm sure, has been a success. Join us next Saturday at 2 p.m. again. Today, we are sorry for the delay. Until next week, Saturday, same time here. I want to say that have a blessed week. Stay home and stay safe. We'll roll out the juicy part of the show, but keep enjoying this because I know you loved it. Hi, Bobby. Let's say goodbye to our guest. Hi,
Love
everyone. Thank
you.
you. Bye. Blessed week.
Bye.
Hands.